Welcome to episode 175 of Cowboy Shit. I can't believe that we are here for 175. And this week we are presented by the CCMAs in Edmonton, Alberta, September 11th to 14th. The big award show is going to be on the 14th on live TV, presented by TD Bank. So it's going to be a big week, but Country Music Week starts on the 11th, Dustin. We're both going to be up there. Looking forward to there's going to be a ton of fun up there.
Yeah. And if you don't know what CCMA means, it's the Canadian
Yeah.
Country Music Awards.
Yeah, and Canadian Country Music
And
Association as well.
yeah, and they're a great group. We're super excited to be heading up to Edmonton. It's going to be hosted by Thomas Rhett, who's a star, Mackenzie Porter, the Medicine Hat
Medicine Hat.
sweetheart.
Yeah, betcha.
Jade Eagleson's on the show, Dallas Smith, the Reclaws, Brett Kissel, and they're going to
And
keep
Dasha.
announcing. Yeah, Dasha, they're going to keep announcing more performers. So we're super excited to be working with that team and can't wait for September. It's going to come quick, and
Mm-hmm.
they're gracious hosts and presenting this week's show, and with a guest who's so knowledgeable and well versed on everything country music. Super excited. We'll chat with Jackie Rae Greening later on in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's coming up, but we just finished a pretty big run, Dustin. When was the last show? Today's the 20, I don't even know what
Well, we
day it
did
is today.
Ranchman's during Stampede with Dusty Golden.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So since then, so I'd already done Bull Bustin', you did Airdrie, then you were Calgary Stampede and you had one role during the rodeo.
Yep.
Tell us about that. But then, like halfway through the week, then you end up on the chuck wagon. So you're all day stampeding for 2 shows a day,
Yeah, it was awesome. I was working on the rodeo side with the production team this year, kind of a new role for myself, and yeah, and then
and a new
halfway
role for
through,
there.
yeah, uh, it was awesome to be a bit of a liaison between the volunteer production committee and all the moving parts of the rodeo and the broadcast on Sportsnet and Cowboy Channel and the Super Board team. That was really cool. And then halfway through, I was able to do the same role with the chuck wagons at night. So first 5 days was just rodeo, and the last 5 days was both, and got through it and had a couple days off, and then I was off to Manitoba Stampede in Morris. So it's been a busy run, and then tomorrow we head to Medicine Hat for the Stampede there, and the Bruce Stampede on Sunday. So just July continues to be a crazy month, but a fun one.
And I guess on our side of things, what do we do?
Yeah, TP.
We were in Teepee Creek. That's right. Yeah, and we were just like we talked about in the show. A couple of the nominated artists were in Teepee Creek. Cole Robertson and I went up there, did that show. Not Cowboy Cole, just for the record. This is the other Cole Robertson. But yeah, had a great week in Teepee Creek. That crew puts on an amazing show. Just they call it 4 days in the wild, and they've got two pretty major concerts this year. They had Jade Eagleson, and the next night was Dallas Smith. No, that's wrong. They had James Barker Band. James Barker Band and Dallas Smith. I
Mm.
was remembering wrong. But Jade Eagleson will be coming up in a couple weeks here in Strathmore at the Strathmore
Strathmore, yeah.
Stampede. But anyways, yeah, I gotta give shout out and kudos to the crew in Teepee Creek. Like you were mentioning, Morris. There's 7,500 people a day in your grandstand. I gotta say, we had one of the most fun perfs that I've worked all year in Teepee Creek on the Saturday. It was a totally packed grandstand. There was no seats left. And we had them singing along, like kind of almost unprovoked, had a really fun sing along component to the show. Um, Ash Cooper, Robert Schmidt, Doug Young, the whole crew. It was a really, really fun perf. Really enjoyed it.
They go nuts there. I used to announce that rodeo years ago
Yeah, that's
before
right.
we started working at Calgary with Brett.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember seeing like Nitty Gritty Dirt Band up there.
Yeah.
David Lee Murphy, I think, was up there.
Yeah. 100% he was
You know,
there. Yeah.
they do it all right. Do they still have the TP Creek limo?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I didn't see it this time. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know
I
if the
think we
limo's
got
still
picked up in the
kicking
TP
around.
Creek limo. I want to say that TP Creek was like one of the last places Keenan Vine fought bulls, and they brought the
Probably.
bullfighters into the arena to start the bull
In the
riding
limo.
in the TP Creek limo. It was
That's
badass,
awesome. That's
and
awesome.
that's a great rodeo up there. They got a great crew.
Then after TP, what was it? A couple days off. Then Tuesday, Alicia Erickson and I took off to Kelowna. Went and did the PBR Canada Cup Series in Kelowna on the Thursday. We had a big lake day. Played like football in the grass at the party, like at the by the lake. with a bunch of bull riders. We were on the lake. At least had a paddleboard we were cruising around on. Uh, then, geez, what else happened? Then I ended up hanging out with Jeff Robson for a couple days. He's been on the show a couple times. Went out on the boat. Did some wake surfing. Got some water up my nose. Got sick. And now we're now we're going to what? Actually, Matt and Cole went to Foremost. Got to give the Foremost crew a shout out too. Those guys went to that rodeo. Had a great couple days in Foremost, and they did some golfing over there. But man, I love the summer. And I guess next up here, we're Matt's gonna go do the WPCA in High River, and then I'll be in Pollockville Saturday night, and then next week Matt will be at BVJ, which we talk about on the show here, and in Camrose, and then Cole and I are gonna be in Strathmore. So just rolling, man.
It keeps rocking and rolling. Rodeo season is in full swing
Oh
in
yeah,
summer, and the damn heat
and
and
the heat, yeah,
smoke.
it's pretty hot. But while we're well, actually, why don't we talk about that on the second half of the show? Why don't we just get right to the interview? What do you
Let's
think?
do it. It was a great interview today. If you
Yeah,
grew up listening to CFCW
if you still
radio,
listen.
Jackie Rae, if you still listen, Jackie Rae Greening she's an absolute sweetheart, a legend, and she was so great to have on the show to talk all things CCMA Week, Country Music Awards, country music, and even a nod to Ricky Tiki Wanchuk in there as well. So
Yeah. Awesome show. Once again, this episode is presented by the CCMAs September 11th to 14th in Edmonton, Alberta. The show is presented by TD, but there's still some tickets available at Ticketmaster for the award show on the 14th, the night of the 14th. So it's going to start at 6 p.m. If you can't get there, though, it's going to be broadcast live on CTV. But if you're anywhere near Edmonton, come up and check out CCMA Week, so Country Music Week in Edmonton. Starts on the 11th of September. Going to be a lot of great events. So hope to see you there.
well, we're super excited to welcome our next guest onto the show. I grew up listening to her on the radio. She's a country music Hall of Famer, part of the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame, an on air personality for a long time, and now the program director and manager in Edmonton, past chair of the CCMA, of course, who is bringing us this episode. The list goes on. Four-time CCMA award winner, personality of the year, humanitarian of the year. Please welcome Jackie Rae Greening to the show.
Hello, boys. How's it going?
Oh, it's super exciting to have you on today.
Where did you grow up, Dustin?
I am from the thriving metropolis of Big Valley, Alberta.
Ah, beautiful. So I also worked in Drumheller for a little bit, so right in between there
Yeah,
and Edmonton. Yes,
and that's
back
where I
in the
just went.
80s. You probably weren't born yet, right?
I'm an '88 model, so I would have caught you on the tail end, but I spent some time in Drumheller as well, and that's where I grew a love for radio because I used to call into the Hurtin' or Flirtin' request line when I was a kid, or whatever I could do to get my voice on the radio. So
Did you ever phone into the kids comedy line on CFCW?
I 100% would have. I 100% would have for sure at some point. So I never missed an opportunity to call into any radio station ever.
I love it. Well, I'm looking forward to this today.
Yeah, we got so much to talk about. I know our show is presented by the Canadian Country Music Awards, which is coming up September 11th to 14th in Edmonton, which is super exciting. And I guess to kick it all off, how exciting is it for the music industry in Alberta and the city to bring the award show back to Edmonton?
It's been a decade since it's been here. It was supposed to be a little earlier, but COVID happened. But so it's been a decade since it's been here. And it's important because Edmonton is a great market for Canadian Country Music Week. We've proven it time and time again. And what it is good for, it's good for the businesses, the economic spinoff there, but musicians and the artists from this area also get to display their talents to many people. So it's great for our local music scene, but then it's also great for, as I say, the spill off to the rest of the city. And it's going to be a fun week.
We're excited
Which
to be
event
part
would
of it.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. Go
Right.
ahead, Ted.
Yeah, which event are you most excited about, Jackie Rae? If something like you've been the chairperson of Country Music Week before, and on the board of directors for the Canadian Country Music Association. past chair as well. But like, what events are you most excited for? And like Dustin and I were talking about this just last night. But like, correct us if we're wrong, but you probably helped create a lot of what Country Music Week is.
The one I probably I'm most excited for is the Legend Show, which is on the Thursday night at the Winspear Center, and the reason is, as you can see, I've been with CFCW 35 years, and CFCW is celebrating their 70th anniversary this year. So the CCMA has been kind enough. We're sponsoring that Legend Show. So what that is 70 years of the music that you hear on the station. So we'll have some pretty special hosts that we'll be able to announce after Big Valley Jamboree. And I know Carolyn Don Johnson is one of them. I can't reveal the other one till afterwards, after that award show. But it's going to be a celebration of 70 years of country music. Gord Bamford's going to be there. Dwayne Steele, Jade Eagleson, Paul Brandt, Kelsey Kulik, Tennille Towns, Haley Benedict. And they're not doing their own songs. Well, Michelle Wright gets to do her own song. She's a Hall of Famer. But the rest of them will be doing other hits that you've heard through the years on country radio. So that's Winspear on the Thursday night, which is September 12th of the Country Music Week. It's going to be fun.
I never heard Danny Hooper's name yet. I have a feeling maybe he's one of the ones that hasn't been announced. After Big Valley Jamboree, I'm just gonna put a little guess out there. Maybe he's gonna be part of the event.
It is not Poopy Hoopy. Unfortunately, he would have been there, but he's every year he MCs that Boston Pizza fundraising golf tournament which is huge. Yeah, and so that's where he's going to be. So unfortunately, it is not Mr. Hooper.
Okay. Cross that one off the list.
One of my favorite.
I will say he's on Sunday night just before Keith Urban. Not that I would ever tease anything more.
So Danny's opening for Keith Urban? Is that how that works?
Yeah, sort of, as the MC.
I got to announce the bull. We used to do the bull riding in Big Valley Jamboree with Bulls for Breakfast, and I announced it with Danny. That was one of my highlights. I'd never had so much comedy inserted into bull riding at 10 a.m. with hungover / still drunk patrons as we did with Danny at Big Valley. That was always a highlight for me.
Oh, yeah, he's something else. He's in a league of his own. When he was our morning guy for about 7 years, I'd be driving to work and I go, oh, Danny, don't go there. Danny, don't. Oh, he went there.
Did you ever have to write him a letter about any of his stuff on the radio, or what was his?
Well, it was funny that it was an ongoing bit that he go, I'll have to go to the principal's office again. But I always said to Danny, I said, when the phone stops ringing, then I'm concerned. I said, at least they're listening. And he pushed the envelope. No, he didn't push the envelope. He ripped the bugger open. That's what he did.
He was always so great to listen to. Loved it, and it's cool that he's always part of these kind of events and stuff like that. And when we're going back to Country Music Week, Jackie, you were talking about the Legend Show at Winspear. I think that's one thing that maybe gets overlooked when you talk about the Canadian Country Music Awards, at least for someone on the outside looking in who hasn't really been that involved. Is we think Country Music Awards and award show, but there's just so many other things. And Ted kind of referenced that. Like, there's a lot going on in the city over the course of 5 days. What are some of the other real highlights? I know you talked about the Legend Show, but what are some of the other things that people can partake in that aren't just closed in for industry folk?
Well, the Cook County Saloon is our official bar. So Cook County, and by the way, their renovations are going to be ready. People that have been going to Cook for the 40 plus years they've been open, they're going to be blown away by the new renos that are opening just in time for Country Music Week. Barry Sparrow and the team there, just incredible. They're hosting the Top of the Country show on the Wednesday night at Cook. Thursday night is CCMA House, which we haven't announced the lineup there, and that is just going to be a who's who of the Canadian country industry. So people will be able to go to Cook for that. If people want the more laid back setting, MacEwan University is a partner with us, and they are going to be hosting the songwriters workshops. And so you'll be able on the Wednesday, the Thursday, and the Friday in the afternoon be able to go to the MacEwan University, the beautiful Allard Hall, sit back and listen to songwriters, a bunch from Nashville, a bunch from Canada. It's just going to be a really, really God, that's where it all begins with, right? It all begins with the song, and it's just the songwriter and the guitar, and you get to go there. So that's going to be at MacEwan University, and those are the. And then before, if you got your tickets to the award show, before the award show, we're going to have some things there, in the Ice District, so right in front of Rogers. So make sure you plan to come early on the Saturday because it's a televised award show at 6 o'clock. So it goes right across Canada at 6. So it starts early. Which is nice. So then after that, you can take your pick. There's going to be lots of things happening downtown and obviously over at Cook County Saloon that you'll be able to take in after the award show because, well, 8 o'clock it'll be done. It'll be early. So that's those are just some of the things that the fans can take in.
Now, what's your favorite part? Now, Ted mentioned you've been chair. I'm sure you've been involved in lots of these award shows. What's your highlight when you take a look at a week like this?
Well, as I said earlier, the legend shows always because it started in Edmonton back in 2010. They used to not do that, and it's more a tribute of today's artists and yesterday's artists. So the legend show, but then also the Hall of Fame inductions. This year, having Katie Lang go in on the artist and Gilles Godard, he's going in the builder category. He used to be an artist, but is now in publishing and artist management. He's a wonderful man, so that's going to be a great induction. But for Katie Lang, who was born in Edmonton, and the Katie Lang and the Reclines. I remember when I just started at CFCW back in 1989, we presented her at the Jubilee Auditorium. It was a CFCW presentation. She was still in country then, and they almost called it punk cowboy music at the time. She performed with Loretta Lynn and Kitty Wells and Brenda Lee. She was renowned in the country world, but she kind of went the pop route, kind of like Taylor Swift did, and made her mark there. But for her being inducted in her hometown is going to be very special.
Yeah, that's a very exciting celebration, and I mean, absolute legend, no question in music. So, is that something that the public is part of, or is that a more of a closed ceremony for the Hall of Fame?
We're going to be doing a tribute to her as part of that legend show on the Thursday night. On the Friday night at the gala dinner, which is more industry driven, what you're talking about, there's a longer induction. And then I'm sure they're doing something on the award show that's going to recognize her as well. So she's coming in for the week, and she's truly excited and honored. And she said shocked that she's going into the hall. She's pretty thrilled about the induction. So yeah, you'll be able to see Katie Lang. She's coming home, which is kind of nice.
Jackie Rae, you mentioned that the Legend Show came to be in 2010 when the CCMA Awards were in Edmonton last, and you just happened to be the chair or on the board then. I kind of mentioned a while ago that some of these events for Country Music Week were things you may have created. Would you tell us the story of how that Legend Show came to be?
Yeah, it was our Harlan Smith, who is in the Hall of Fame as well. He's from this area. Great. Funny, we used to hire our Harlan back in the 60s and 70s. We used to take CFCW to all the rodeos around Alberta, and we used to have live entertainment. So we'd broadcast live, and then we'd have Joyce Smith or the Rogers Brothers or our Harlan. They'd be on the stage performing for at their rodeo. So I met Harlan when I just started, and he really felt that there should be a mass induction, because what happens a lot of the time in the artist category is artists that should be in, they somehow slip through the cracks, and then you forget about them. So we actually did a mass induction. We inducted 10 artists into the Hall of Fame that year. And it was Edmonton's Joyce Smith was one of them, and Charlie Farquharson, and it was a really special evening. And we thought, well, how do we do it in such a way? So we thought, why don't we take these 10 artists that are being inducted and put them with 10 artists from today and make a show at the Winspear. And that's exactly what we did. We put the older artists with the newer artists, and it was such a hit, the CCMA continued to do it thereon after. So that was how it came into be back in 2010. So a pretty proud thing for me every time I go to, because it's you can't forget the people that got you to the dance. And that's one thing I've always been a huge believer in.
Ted, I think we're putting this one on our CCMA week agenda by the sounds of it.
I'm in. Yeah.
Sounds like a must do.
And I grew up on that old stuff. Like my dad was from a different era. I would say, he'll be 81 in October this year. So I grew up on the music that was essentially way before my time, like the I don't know what was it, Tennessee Ernie Ford with 16 tons, like those like really
16 tons, what
yeah.
do you get? Another year older and deeper in debt.
Right. Well, that kind of stuff's what I grew up on, like the older stuff, like the, you know, Johnny Cash and the Charlie Pride and like that era of music. So I'm a fan of the legends side of things, and on the Canadian music side of things, like that would have been that's probably a show that we'll see something from Ian and Sylvia, or maybe some Ian Tyson stuff with, Ian's passed away in the last couple of years now, but I love that kind of music, and hearing the current artists of today perform those songs it'd be pretty special.
Oh yeah, yeah. What we have Tennille Towns doing is going to be just plain fun. I know I can only tease, but it's
Yeah.
just all the artists doing different. I think people might know what Gord Bamford's going to be doing, but that's because what do you think, Merle Haggard?
Oh yeah, totally.
He's got to be doing some hag. So that's the kind of night it's going to be. And there are going to be some surprises in there. Go, oh, I never thought the artist would do that. Oh, that's cool.
Jackie, taking a look at the list of, and we'll talk about Nom Day was just this past week, which is a big day for all the artists. I follow lots on social media, and everybody's tweeting and excited when they get nominated. And when you look at the I guess I don't know if I call it the state of country music in Canada, even in Alberta for that fact, there's some powerhouse artists on the nominations. Not only on a Canadian level but on an international level. The state of country music in Canada right now is at an extremely high level. So this year's nomination list, I mean, it is really star-studded. There's no smoke and mirrors when you say that it's truly some of the best artists in the world right now.
I agree, and I love they're doing their own thing. They're in their own lane. Dallas Smith, God, what a voice! He's built his own lane. And then you think about a Jade Eagleson, total opposite from Dallas Smith. So the more traditional side. I always tell the story when Jade first came into our radio station. He was a little more. It was more poppy, mainstreamy country. It wasn't the true blue country he's putting out right now. And he looked at me and he said, "JR, you wait. When I get the chance, I'll record the music I want to record." He says, "I'm just keeping them happy right now." And he was absolutely right, because now he's able to release what's really true to Jade Eagleson, and that's that more traditional side. And he's got the voice to do it. He's got that Paul Brandt type voice. And I just think great things for Jade Eagleson. And I think the Reclaws, another great act that, they showed up on America's Got Talent just recently, and judges were wowed by them, and they've been winning here. They hosted last year's award show, for crying out loud, in Hamilton. So the Reclaws are making a name for themselves. No, you're right. There's Brett Kissel's "Let the Horses Run." Like, what a great song! And have you seen the video for that? Oh, so good.
Yeah, the video is awesome. It was cool. The guy doing the music at the Calgary Stampede, Chuck Wagons, happens to be our show editor. And I think he had that song mixed in to start the Chuck Wagon races each night. They'd start with the old "Half a Mile of Hell" and then right into "Let the Horses Run." So
that's
song.
Les. Les was the one that told me about that one.
Yeah,
he was like, because he was talking about catching up with Brett in Grand Prairie this spring, and Brett Kissel, who we're talking about right now with the song, he texted Les, Dustin, and he's like, "Hey, come and meet me at the cabaret. I want you and Kelly to come over and say hi in the green room or whatever." So he was like, "I got this new song, and it would be perfect for Chuck Wagon racing. Would you guys play it?" So he told Les about it, and he told and then so Sean's playing it, and but Brett told us about it. Brett told Les about it. So Les is like, Ian's not around now, so we're gonna have to get a new song in there. So
and it fits perfect. It just makes you want to, makes you want to run, for crying out loud.
That's right.
That's a great song.
Let the Horses Run. And Dallas Smith is such a cool story, coming from the rock side, playing with a Canadian country rock band, and they're award winners, and then goes down the country music trail. And seems like, now all of a sudden, on an afternoon at a country music festival, he'd be in that afternoon slot. Now he's headlining some of the biggest festivals in North America. What a trajectory his career is on and continues to be on. It's impressive.
Wow, and what a voice! Holy crap! When the first time I saw him at Country Music Week, and I think it was here. Would that have been Edmonton in 2013? Could have been. But he the first time I saw him live, and it was at a songwriter circle, and I can't remember who was singing after him, but Dallas sang his song, and the guy sang after just looked at him and said, "I got to follow that." The voice, because his voice is so good. Yeah. And what I love too with Dallas, he's working with other artists, up and coming artists like Sean Austin and Andrew Hyatt, trying to help others in their career path as well. So he's given back to the industry as well.
And when you take a look at, I mean, I'm sure at some point in the show we'll talk some more about some of the categories and some of the artists, and all who we've spoke of are all nominees. But the host of the show is always like an exciting announcement when it comes out, and this year it's Thomas Rhett, who's just an international juggernaut, country music award winner, and Mackenzie Porter, who's also nominated a bunch this year. I took a look at. What are we going to expect from those two as hosts? I'm sure Mackenzie and Thomas Rhett's a really great artist.
And Thomas Rhett's a really nice guy, and he's a lover of music. So he'll come in, obviously, hit after hit, and he's got a new album coming out. A big reason why he's going to be hosting the show, because he'll be wanting to promote that album. But Thomas Rhett and Mackenzie are, I think will really complement each other. And of course, she's an actress as well. She comes from the acting world as well as the singing world. So she knows things about learning lines and everything. And I just, and she is so uber talented. I think that's, I really actually hope the two of them get to sing together. I'm not sure. I haven't seen what's happening on the award show, but that would be a pretty cool moment.
Who's been some of your favorite hosts in years past of the award show?
Do you know Paul Brandt did it for a lot of years, and Terry Clark? And I think they were so good because they're both funny people, and they both are. They know the Canadian audience so well. Do you know who else was here one year? Was Rick Mercer and Jan Arden. I thought they were really funny. That was a really good year as well. It's a hard job because you're trying to keep it moving, and then also trying to keep it entertaining, but because, you've seen enough painful opening monologues of award show that you want to go, oh, shoot me. Yeah. Who wrote this stuff?
Can you let us behind the curtain? How do you get selected to be the host of the Country Music Awards? What's the process, or how does that work?
It's up to the CTV, so Bell Media, so the producers of the show, as well as the Canadian Country Music Association. As a local host committee, we don't have any say. You can put in your 2 cents that, we'd really like so and so, but really it's down to who do they think is going to put eyes on the show? So that's what it is. They need eyes on the show for their advertisers. So with Thomas Rhett having that international profile, they thought that would do it. And then obviously Mackenzie Porter being both artist and actress, they figured that would help it. But it's all about eyes on the show, and then also social media. So what do you have in relation to getting your people talking about the award show? So it's a little bit of both, but it's all about trying to get the ratings, just like this award-winning show, correct?
That's right. It's all about, that's why we have Jackie Rae on here, so we can get the best ratings. Okay, one last question on the host. If you had to assemble your perfect duo, could be any two people to host the show, and you were selecting, who would you pick? This is on the spot.
Oh, that's hard. Wow. I'm a huge Reba fan. I think her doing the ACM Awards, and they've already got her back next year in Texas. I just always have loved Reba, and I love her delivery. So I would have to say Reba, and who would I put her up with? Justin Trudeau. No, just kidding.
You can say Jackie Rae Greening if you've always wanted to host with Reba.
Yeah, no, that would be too nerve-wracking. It would be fun, but nerve-wracking. I got to think. If I think during the show who I'd put with her, I'd probably put a comedian. Or
I put you on
maybe
the spot.
yeah, you did. That's a good one. How about Dustin Edwards?
Hey, I'm in.
Dustin's a part-time comedian. That would totally work.
My jokes wouldn't land very well, I don't think.
I wonder who would fit though. Like somebody that's kind of Western on the comedy side of things.
You could just get a cowboy in there and they would just nod.
Yeah.
She'd talk and nod.
Dennis Halstead.
Yeah.
yeah, there we go.
Danny the rodeo.
I've worked with Dennis before. Danny Hooper would be funny, actually.
Danny would be good, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
Danny Hooper and Reba, yeah. That would be pretty good. Okay, there's my choice. There we go.
And Mackenzie Porter's from Medicine Hat, right? Isn't she a Medicine Hat girl?
Yeah, they and the family still has the bison ranch out in that neck of the woods. Her parents are still out on the farm.
That's always cool is when you get to know the stories of the stars that are part of this that have some local connection, and I guess that's probably big for someone like Brett Kissel coming into the show in Edmonton. I imagine he's going to be he is a big part of it on the award side, performer side. He's probably the biggest local star from the Edmonton area as we'd see at the CCMAs this year, right? Is there some others that I'd be missing with some real local roots to Edmonton?
Yeah. Well, for local, with Star, definitely Brett Kissel would be the one. But then there's also acts like Kelsey Kulik. She lives out in Beaumont. The Prairie States are from Edmonton. Haley Benedict. She's got a nomination for Breakthrough Artist of the Year. She's from my hometown of St. Albert. Another Paul Kane alumni. Way to go, Haley. So give a shout out to her. So there are some local bubbling that are up and coming that are going to be around for Country Music Week.
Is Haley the one that Keith Urban pulled up on stage years ago? Am I thinking of the right? Yeah.
She's the one, yeah.
And
and she was like 13 years old. She used to be at I'd see her perform at our farmers market for, she'd be just performing for busking. So that's when I first saw Haley, and then, got up on stage, and there's going to be big things happening for her. She's just a very driven woman, really nice and really talented. So remember the name Haley Benedict, I think anyway.
It was like a viral video of her getting pulled up on stage singing. She did like an original song or something.
She did, yeah.
Remarkable.
Like nobody goes up and does an original song, only Haley.
And out of the list of performers who have been announced, who's one that you're really looking forward to seeing on the stage during the award show? I know there's a list so far.
Well, of course. We've talked about Brett Kissel. He lived in my basement, so he's like a son to me. So I got to say him, don't I? No, I guess. But Brett, and actually all of them, I'd love to see what they do on the big stage, like knowing that what you are about to do is going to live on forever, because with social media now, whatever you do is going to live on forever online. And then it can be a real moment. It can be a real game changer as to downloads and sales. It's big for your career when you get a slot on a nationally televised award show. And for Canadian country artists, there's not that many opportunities to get on a national stage like that, to have that exposure. So I really am intrigued by all of the performances, because I'm thinking, okay, they've thought to the nth degree about what they're wearing, about what song, but you're also beholden by the producers. They could go, well, no, you can't do that song because you're up. We don't want 2 slow songs in a row. We need this, or we need a hit, it's a yin and yang thing with the producers of the show, as well as what you get to perform. So I'm more intrigued by the whole overall show as to how it gets put together, but also how an artist handles a pressure situation like that. It says a lot about an artist.
What have been some of the most memorable performances you've seen at the CCMAs in the past?
Oh, there's 2 that stand out for me right away. Number one, Terry Clark, her song "No Fear." It was the song that the Canadian Special Olympics had chosen as their song. And Terry did No Fear. And then all of the Special Olympic athletes started to come down all the rows of the arena and ended up on stage with her. And it was one of those moments you just got goosebumps. And then the other one was Paul Brandt. He was hosting the awards in his hometown of Calgary. And he did Alberta Bound was a huge hit, his big hit. And the place just erupted when he came out and did that, because obviously it's kind of our anthem here in Alberta. So that was another moment that will always stay with me.
The talk about Bob Steadward and the Special Olympics and that song. Was there any connection there with
no?
Terry Clark?
Bob Steadward is more the Paralympic movement.
Paralympics. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah. Dr. Bob is, and he chaired Country Music Week. When I was chair of the board back in 2010, he co-chaired the Country Music Awards here for us, along with Dave Majeski. So he was really involved. And actually, he managed Brett Kissel for a little bit as well. So he has a little bit, he's like me, a little bit of everything: curling, country music, rodeo, wear a lot of hats.
Well, and the Dave Majeski was part of the CFR commission back in the day too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So and it's funny now when you think with Country Music Week coming to Edmonton, and then we've also got the rodeo back, and then obviously the bull riding's a big event here as well. It's going to be a fun couple of months in Edmonton coming up.
Yeah, September, October, November. There's something big every month in the fall there for 3 months in a row.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be. Yeah, beer's cold. Come visit us, please. Come.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have for you guys? You've been in Edmonton for so long, and what does it mean to have that building that becomes the nucleus of these powerhouse events in Canada, and being able to have that as the host venue for an award show like this and all those other events?
Oh, Rogers Place has been a huge addition to our city, and just the location of it. Even when you look at the Oilers playoffs, there wasn't the pressure of people that ended up on White Avenue, or because the downtown, it was so spread out. So there wasn't ways for people to get into trouble, which is probably a good thing. But it's become a gathering place for not only Edmontonians, but everybody from Alberta that gets to come into an event. You're in the downtown core, and the arena's right there, and there's all these amenities right around it. Instead of, if you think where the Coliseum used to be, out in the middle of nowhere, you'd have to travel to get there, and there was nothing around it. There was no infrastructure around it like with bars or restaurants that you could go to after. So for Rogers has been a key, I think, for us, for having the rodeo come back, for having Country Music Week right in that downtown core. Because if you think where Rogers Place is, all the host hotels are right around it. The Winspear Center is right walking distance. The MacEwan University, where the Songwriters is going to be, is walking distance. It's just a great, just go park your car and enjoy. And that's what that Rogers Place has brought to us in the downtown core.
The only place you got to get to and from now is Cook County. It's a little bit south, just across the river.
That is. Yeah, Barry, if you're watching, please get shuttles, please. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to need the
car. Well, and if you're a country music fan, not from Alberta, what a better place to fly into and be able to access everything so easily. It's super nice for guests and visitors that are coming in for the week as well, right?
Yeah, and that's what you want. Anytime a city goes for an event like this, there's a license fee for anything, so there's money attached, and they need to see the economic spin-off. Yet definitely, it's great with the exposure that the award show is going to bring. Hey, live from Edmonton, or all the social media, like from Nom Day, yes, live from Edmonton, blah blah blah. That's great, but it's also, we need to help businesses. Everybody's still recovering. So from restaurants to hotels to stores, it's a recovery still for many businesses. And it's that these types of events are so hugely important, from Country Music Week to the big rodeo happening here in October.
I was curious, we talked about you being the past chair of the CCMAs and part of these award weeks and country music weeks. What is the army like of people that it takes to put one of these on? I know there's a lot of volunteers and a lot of names we've mentioned, but just for people listening, what size of group does it take to execute a show like this or a week like this?
Well, and it's interesting because you've got the production team that's running just the award show. So they're going full tilt from, you think about the crew there. So that they're handling all of the logistics and the show flow and everything. So they're doing that. And think of all the talent that they're having to navigate, because they also haven't, the CCMA hasn't fully announced the full lineup. That's still to come because they had to wait for Nom Day to see who's got the nominations. So the list you have right now for the award show isn't full. So that's another thing. So that's one silo. So then you have all of the public events, like we've talked about, from the songwriters at McEwen, from the kickoff at Cook County Saloon to the Legend Show, all of those things. So we've got all of those different events happening. But then there's the logistics. Okay, the airport. Pickups at the airport. This artist is arriving this time. This artist arriving this time. And as you know, there's a little construction happening at our airport right now. So, for the artists, we get access right at the front door. So, okay, who's picking up when? So we've got a whole team of just transportation. That's what they do. We've got vehicles. Thank you, Driving Force, that is going to be providing the vehicles to pick up all of these artists. So that's transportation, and then it's just a matter of now. It's funny that you asked that. We're now down to the minutia of, okay, how many volunteers do we need at Songwriters? How many do we need at the Winspear Center? How many? Yeah, so it's now to that. And what do we have them to do? Because the one thing I hate is when people volunteer and they have nothing to do. I don't like a board volunteer. Yeah. So make sure, I keep saying to the committees, each of the committees, please tell me exactly what you need. Don't pie in the sky, because I don't want board volunteers, because as long as you're being useful, your shift goes by in no time. So that's there's so many different silos, but then suddenly it'll all come together. And sponsorship is a big thing right now that I've been working on. So anybody want sponsor, you just call Jackie Rae.
Hey, we'll get all the plugs in you need here, Jackie Rae. We'll send them all your way.
That would be awesome. And actually, I should mention that, because if you go to Ticketmaster, a lot of the great seats for the award show have been eaten up. But I do have some VIP packages. So if you're a businessman that wants some awesome seats, trust me, I've got them.
And this award show it will sell out, right? It's gonna be a full building.
Yeah. And with the way the stage is, because you need with television, you need a bigger backstage area and everything. We're about 10,000 is what a sellout would be. So I think it's going to be Once we've sold really well, and we haven't even announced the full lineup yet. Actually, it was funny. We went on sale before Christmas, and we announced nobody. There was no host. It was just the award show, and we sold half the tickets right out of the gate. So that was pretty impressive. The CCMA went, okay, we're glad we're coming to Edmonton. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, once again, the award show September 14th at Rogers Place, 6 o'clock Mountain. CCMA Awards presented by TD. Going to be live on CTV, but tickets are available still. There's a few left at Ticketmaster.ca. So make sure to get your tickets if you haven't yet.
Get them.
And always keep in mind, as they put the stage in that week, that that always opens up some, because we blocked off some because we think cameras may be in the way. We're not sure, so always keep checking back.
And you referenced just a few moments ago, Jackie Rae, about Nom Day, and we've dropped that term a little bit. So I guess for everyone's like, what is Nom Day? I'm sure you can figure out that it's nomination day for the artists, and that was just this past week. And how big of a day is that for all these artists? Are they just sitting by their phone, just waiting for a text, an email, a call? What does it look like if you're an artist staring at your phone on Nom Day?
Well, it's actually funny. Dan Davidson, who is one of our morning guys, he's also an artist. He's on CFCW Mornings with Stella, and he calls it a sad day because if he doesn't get a nomination, for some artists, it's and for others it's it's huge, because that gives you a chance. If you get lots of nominations, if you look at Owen Rigling, an up and coming act, he got a lot of nominations, so he may have a shot now to get on those award shows with that many. So that for him, just starting and being a rising star, he could get a national TV slot. So that was a huge day for him. And yeah, they're just, and if people wonder how it's voted on, there's like, for example, I'm a member of the Canadian Country Music Association. You pay your dues every year, and it's people in the industry, from radio to musicians to producers to artists. It's anybody to do with the country music business can be a member. And that's who votes. So there's record labels as well, and so there's camps that will vote for their own. And so if you're wondering, okay, how do these people even get nominated? That's how they get nominated. So it's a huge day for the artists. Oh, I think your mic's
Ted, your mic's off.
I got to turn it on. Forgot about that part.
Ted, I thought you were a professional. For God's sake.
Oh, jeez, I'm out of it today. My head's a little full of something, but no. So Dustin and I are going to be members too. We're working on that right now, actually, so we can be members as the podcast too. So
we're working on that. Oh, great.
Yeah. So I didn't even know it was a thing. Didn't even know it was a thing. So we're working on that. But you mentioned Dan Davidson, and Dan and Stella Stevens got nominated as personalities of the year for one of the awards too, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, country personalities. Which and it's funny. I voted for them, but then I also got nominated, and I don't know how. But
well, congratulations.
I think last year was at the gala dinner at the last second. The person that was supposed to host it took ill, so he couldn't do it. So they asked me at the last second, and let's just say I let her rip. I had a lot of fun emceeing it, so I have a feeling it was off that performance is maybe how I got nominated, because I didn't care. I was like, just bring me some wine and I'll MC this thing.
Yeah, there's no notes. You just got to roll with it.
Exactly.
And for you guys, CFCW nominated for Radio Station of the Year as well, which is super exciting. Large market.
Yeah, and then our friends, New Country, CKGY, and Red Deer got small and medium-sized markets. So we're the Alberta stations, the only ones that actually got nominated in those categories. That's a pretty big honor for us. And then the one thing that we did was the Heartstrings and Honky Tonk tour. So Clayton Bellamy, Dan Davidson, and Silver Plow Production, in celebration of our 70th year, we did 5 live radio shows at small theaters, 500-seat theaters, sold them all out, and had artists like George Fox and Dwayne Steele, and it was just a really great showcase of our Alberta talent, and we did it live on the radio. It was like old school radio, so it was so much fun. I even read commercials, like they do on the Grand Ole Opry. This brought to you by Goo Goo Clusters. Yeah.
Goo Goo Clusters.
Or this segment brought to you by Serenity Funeral Service.
Oh, jeez.
It's live radio at its best. So that was nominated for Country Program or Special of the Year. So that one I'm really proud of.
So you guys might have a really busy award show with all those nominations. That's super exciting.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. And in total, I mean, we can see online that there's 40 awards listed. Is that the 40 that get presented during the award show if you're at Rogers that day, or some awarded off-site?
Yeah. So the gala dinner on the Friday night, that industry dinner I was talking about, which is at the conference center, there's 30 awards are given out that night. So it's you roll through that. And then the other awards, the big awards, are the only ones that land on the television show, like male and female and entertainer of the year. Also want to mention with that, Lindsay L., who is nominated for Female Artist of the Year. She also is getting the Humanitarian Award, and she's an Albertan, and she's had quite a year. Like, she's hosted Canada's Got Talent. She's been playing guitar on Shania Twain's tour because she's a hell of a guitar player, and she's releasing music, and she's just had a great year. And she has a wonderful charity that she's involved in that's going to be recognized. That'll also happen at the gala dinner on the Friday night.
I have to say, one of my favorite albums I have downloaded on my phone is Lindsay L. doing a John Mayer cover album, which I'm a huge John Mayer fan. Little different, but she's so good at playing guitar, and that's kind of one of his things. And she's so good. She's
Oh yeah. Randy Bachman taught her. Hey, that's where she as a
Oh, no
youngster.
way.
Yeah, oh yeah. So she's just a hell of a player.
and the host Mackenzie, she's in that category. Tennille Towns, who you referenced earlier, is in that category. Ali Walker, who's a kind of a new name who I've been seeing lots of late. I think she's from the East Coast. She's a nomination, so another stacked category.
Yeah, Ali Walker. I'll have a chance to see her at Big Valley. I'm not too familiar with her at all, but she came out of that TikTok world. Hey, so
Yeah.
that's the one artist that came from that neck of the woods. So
That's interesting you brought that up. How has uh, social media and TikTok and Instagram changed how artists are discovered, or how quickly you can go from being on TikTok to being nominated for a country music award? It feels like now it's like a 24-hour society. You can get instant stardom. Has that changed a lot over the last couple of years, for especially like how awards are handed out and how quickly you rise to fame, I guess, in the country music scene in Canada?
oh, it's huge. Like I'm going to be more fascinated to see if the people that come out of the TikTok world, if they have a sustainable career. That's the one are you a one hit wonder or a few hit wonder, or are you talented enough to keep that career going? That story still to be told. But for immediate response, my goodness, suddenly you'll see kids singing along to a song that I've never even heard this song, but they know the music. So it's exposing music and artists to the kids, and I think it's an awesome thing. Like, because what's happening now, like Ali Walker has a record deal now, but she didn't before. But now the record label is starting not from scratch with this artist. They actually have already a core group of followers that they can feed into. So it's so you're not building an artist from scratch like they used to have to in the old days. So that's where record labels are finding their talent nowadays. So it's been a game changer for sure.
And then you still have the live shows like the Rec Laws getting international talent on it was America's Got Talent, right? That they were on. And then if you go way back in the day, I think didn't George Canyon get discovered on like a singing show, like
Nashville Star
back in the day? So I guess that route still there too.
Yeah, I think it is. And again, it's that sudden national exposure. And that's what the CCMA Awards does for it. So that award show at Rogers on September 14th, tickets at Ticketmaster, that's a huge platform for all those artists on that show. You need that national exposure.
I want to talk about the Fans Choice Awards. There's the main Fans Choice, and then the Breakthrough Artist or Group of the Year. This is actually a fan vote. You can vote at ccmafanvote.com, but there's a ton of artists up for that award. The Rec Laws, High Valley, Mackenzie Porter, Stephen Lee Olson, Dean Brody, Jade Eagleson, Tyler Joe Miller, Josh Ross, Dallas Smith, and the James Barker Band. Then there's the whole the Breakthrough Artist of the Year award as well. You got Haley Benedict, we've already talked about, Dax, Tegan Gase, Matt Lang, and Owen Ringling, like we already mentioned too. So we got to talk about those awards a little bit too. Those are a fun piece as well.
Yeah, the Breakthrough Artist, that's brand new. That's the first time they've done it. And you only have until August 1st to vote on that one. So if Haley actually just popped by our studio yesterday and was telling us about it. So, and she's the only Alberta act in there. So that's going to be that's an interesting one for me. And I like the idea of it. And then you have the Fans Choice one for the entertainer, and all of those 10 made the list by downloads, radio spins. That's how it was calculated, how those made the top 10. And then now it's up to the fans to say, okay, who's your favorite out of the group? Though at the award show, you'll also see there's Entertainer of the Year. And then that one's just industry voted. So the people that are members of the CCMA gets to vote on that. So that if you're confused as to why there's an Entertainer of the Year and a Fan's Choice, that's one's fan, one ain't. But it's a great list.
Well, and how much does the Entertainer of the Year award, how much is accounted for the live shows? Like, just for example, in the last couple years, I think I've seen Jade Eagleson at almost every major rodeo we've been to. He'll be in Strathmore here in a couple weeks. He was just in TP Creek last year. He was in Grand Prairie at the Stampede. Like some of these folks. Dallas Smith was actually just in TP Creek as well. Like James Barker Band was in TP Creek as well. It's kind of wild, but like we see these artists at all these rodeos we go to all year long. I'm wondering how much that live piece is part of that Entertainer of the Year award.
Well, I think if you're performing and you remember to promote yourself, it'd probably be a smart thing because everybody in the crowd, hey, imagine they're drinking a bunch of beers and you'd say,
Yeah.
hey, wait, could you pull
Should
your
vote for
phone
me.
out and do you mind voting for me right now? What a heck of an idea. I think, it's with those ones, fans will vote for their favorite artists out of that, whether they've seen them or not. That's my kind of feeling on it. For me, when I vote as a member of the Entertainer of the Year, I'll look at the five and I'll go, okay, I think they have a really great live show. So that's where I think. But I think a fan votes with their heart. Like they're going with the ones they really, really love. But that's a tough list. That's a real good list.
So what
for the
about
artists? Oh, sorry, Ted.
I just had a quick question about the kind of the I don't know, like Cor Blund is a friend, and then like we've had Coulter Wall on the show, but they're not as much in this, what am I trying to say? Like on the radio country side of things, or go ahead, Dustin. Mainstream, yeah. Yeah. But they're still doing some big things in the business, but I'm wondering how that works, Jackie Rae. I don't totally know the game that way.
Well, and they would be, Corb has won Alternative Album of the Year. It used to be called Roots Album. It's now
Okay.
called Alternative Album. And he's won that previously. Corb has. Cal McCurney was a big winner of that last year. And it's mainstream music is more what these award shows are all about. But the Corbs of the world, Coulter Wall, he was nominated, I think last year, didn't end up winning it. Kyle ended up winning it. But as long as you have to have a new album out in the calendar year, which Corb didn't. But that's why he wasn't nominated in that category. For this year. So it's just that one award, really. But if suddenly they had a breakthrough hit, if you think with Corb, with Truck Got Stuck and all those big hits that he had back in the day when he was hitting a little more mainstream, he could have been nominated too for Male Artist of the Year. It is possible if you have that one radio-friendly hit, but you need that radio-friendly hit.
Huh. But there's a whole thing to the radio-friendly part where it's got to be, like, what could I say? It's got to be made for radio too. Like there's those guys or like Coulter's got a huge following and got a ton of people listening to his stuff, but it's not really radio country. It doesn't fit that mold. But like, is that partially because of the record labels, or partially because of the radio stations or the promoters, or like how does that fit in? Like I don't know a ton about like La Honda Records, who represents them, but they're not on any of the awards pieces, and they're also out of the U.S. So I'm just trying to understand a bit better about how that all works.
Yeah, and I don't know, does he record his music here or does he record it down in the States? I'm not sure with
That's part of
Coulter.
it too. Is that what you're saying? Like these are all
Yeah.
Canadian recordings for the CCMA Awards.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's called the Maple Leaf. At Country Radio, we have to play 35% Canadian content between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And
Recorded
so
in Canada.
it's music, yeah. So music, artist, producer, lyrics. So those four, you need half of those. So Coulter writes all his own stuff, so he would have the music and the artist on the Maple logo. But yeah, we're trying to, with the Canadian Country Music Awards, you're trying to super serve the industry here in Canada, and that's it's all that ecosystem that you're trying to make it work. So that's one of them. And yeah, it just depends. With radio too, it's for example, CFCW, we're a little different in that we're an AM station that really is careful about the music we play. We're playing Zach Top's Sounds Like the Radio. Not many other stations are.
Such a good song,
I think they'll get. Yeah. Oh, it's a great song. Isn't that good? I love that kid.
So good.
Yeah, yeah. So so radio it just depends. But you're trying to keep the masses happy when you're a radio station, right? So you can't play just for a small niche. Then you won't have that big of a listening audience, and then advertisers
won't be
don't
ringing.
like it if you don't have a listening audience, right? So you have to
Yeah.
you have to give music that the masses like, and then the advertisers come along.
Okay.
I was
Thanks for the
now we know. Now we can tell everyone, Ted. Jackie, I was going to circle back. We were talking about the Entertainer of the Year and Fans' Choice. If you're an artist, what is the Stanley Cup of these awards? Like, what's the most prestigious award to win? Is it Entertainer? Is that the big one, or which one is it really?
It would definitely be the fans' choice entertainer because it's always see for the artists. It's all about the fans. As far as the artist in them, they love when they win album of the year because then that's a salute that they're getting recognition for their body of work. So for an artist, definitely fans' choice, but second would be album of the year.
And when you look at the awards this year, or that you said there was a new one, then we were talking about the breakthrough. Is there a category for someone like yourself that's been involved for a long time that has come and gone, or something that you think is still missing from the award show as far as presenting an award? Is there something that still hasn't been touched yet in that side of things?
I think they're pretty covered. Like if you look at the gala dinner, all those off televised awards, best dog. No, just kidding. But you got nightclub of the year. You got record label of the year, industry person of the year, a publisher of the year, record label. Yeah, there's a whole myriad. They have a committee that's just they look at the awards every year and just say, okay, retailer or digital provider. Now it used to just be retailer, but now we used to have the big HMV right by us here at CFCW West Edmonton Mall. That ain't there anymore. So, now it's DPS, digital service providers, DSPs. But yeah, so it evolves every year. No, I don't think, I can't see an award they've missed because, as you said, there's 40 awards we're going to be giving out that week in Edmonton.
But we can add in Jackie Rae's Country Music Dog of the Year if we have to.
Actually, that would be funny. And you get every artist to submit a picture of their dog.
Yeah.
I should do that. Kind of think of that. That'd be fun at the gala dinner. Hey, okay, there's Dean Brody's dog. Oh, there's Charlie, Brett Kissel's dog. Yeah. Oh, this is good.
We're taking with this and running with it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we'll sponsor the award. So
okay, deal.
Yeah.
What about the actually one of the awards I saw there, it was Country Club of the Year or you mentioned nightclub, but there's only 3 on the list and they're all in Alberta. That kind of concerned me a little bit that there's no other places with live country music that even made the list. I wonder, I don't know what there is in Ontario. I don't know what there is in Saskatchewan, BC, but it kind of made me wonder, like, holy smokes, how is it only the Ranchmans in Calgary, the King Eddie in Calgary, and Cook County in Edmonton? It's kind of, I was surprised that there was no other places, but in my travels, I don't know if I've seen anywhere else that really has live music to the extent that those 3 places do.
You're not wrong. It's funny that stuck out to me too when I saw it, and in all of Ontario, there's not a country bar. But it's also if they don't get nominated, if someone doesn't nominate them, then they don't make the list, right? So that with the ballot process, with the membership, even out in the East Coast, you would hope, and Quebec
Halifax,
is a
maybe?
huge hotbed of country music too. Even in rural Quebec, I'm shocked that because you think Matt Lang, who's up for Breakthrough Artist of the Year, he's a huge star in Quebec. Like we're talking Dallas Smith huge. That's how big he is in his home province of Quebec.
Well, we went to some live music at Ranchman's, Cook County. I've been to King Eddie. They're all awesome. We're super lucky to have them all in Alberta. We did our last show live from Ranchman's during the Calgary Stampede, and they had just a plethora of artists in there every night, including Zach Top, who you just talked about. And
how is he live, by the way?
I didn't make the show. I had tickets and I didn't make it, but I love him. I think he's a great artist. I heard nothing but good things about the show. They said
he's from Montana, right?
Somewhere down south, and he's taken off. But
Washington State,
I said, what was his show like? And they said it was like being back in the 90s. Washington. He would play some Joe Diffie. He'd play his originals, Alan Jackson, and sounded awesome. So
I love that. Love that.
Sunnyside, Washington. He's only 27 years old. That's kind of wild.
Oh, it's Washington State. Okay, there. Yeah.
Washington State. Huh.
When we look at all the nominated artists, Jackie Rae, And I know, for us listening to country music and being around, we've seen Jade Eagleson, Mackenzie Porter, Reclaws, all these artists, Dallas Smith. Is there a sleeper in these nominations where they're on there and they maybe haven't got the big name yet? They're just kind of getting their wind beneath their sails here a little bit. Is there anyone that stands out to you that's going to be just you think could be a really, really big star that's on this list?
Well, I mentioned earlier in the breakthrough, I think Haley Benedict is one to definitely watch in the future. She's for sure. Owen Wrigling's an interesting one. He had a huge hit with Old Dirt Road. And so we'll just see what the follow-up is. He got a lot of nominations off the strength of one single. So I'm really intrigued to watch and see what happens with him. I really think Canadian Country Music Week in Edmonton, I think it's going to be the week of Jade Eagleson. I just, his career is just, he's just on such a roll, and he's going to be a tough one to beat, is my thoughts that week.
I seen him open up for, I think it was Cody Johnson in May. I believe he was on that tour, and he mentioned that is he from Alberta or lived in Calgary?
He lived in Calgary for a bit. He's originally from a farm out in Ontario, but he did move to Calgary for a bit because his wife Marnie's from there, and then and then they've now made the move to Nashville.
And when you sing a song about rodeo queens, there's a very good chance it's going to be popular in this neck of the woods. Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's such a fun song too. So good.
Before we wrap up the show here today, I just gotta talk about the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame, a bit of the curling side of things, and a bit of rodeo before we wrap it up. So I'll let you start on those three where you want to go first.
Curling. Well, we got to talk curling because that's the reason I'm in the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame. Started when I was 12 years old, curling in St. Albert. I'm born and raised, still live there.
They wouldn't let you start till you're 12, I read. That was the minimum age.
That back in those days, you couldn't start any younger. That was the earliest you could start. Now you could be 6 years old out on the ice, but back then it was 12. And by the time I was 15, 16, my mom was big in the club. She was president of the ladies club and huge into volunteering. And that
in St. Albert, right?
She said, okay, if you're curling, and you have to give back to the club. And so that was really where my volunteering began, because that was my mom. And I went to the junior Canadians. I've been to a 3 Scotties tournament of hearts curling. I've been to lost in the final of the senior Canadians, and now the Masters Canadians. We just lost the final in the spring. So still curling all these years later. And through the volunteering, I volunteered. I chaired the Roar of the Rings, the Olympic trials in 2009, the World Men's Curling Champions in 2007. I volunteered for all the Briers here. And so that's why I got into the Hall of Fame. Not so much for my curling, but for my volunteering for curling.
Jackie, I was born, I'll just leave you with this. I was born and lived my first few years in Bigger, Saskatchewan.
Oh, Sandra Schmerler.
So there you go. There's my curling tie.
Yeah, I used to play against her. Yeah. Back in the day, she beat us actually in the 1991 Scotties in a playoff. Not that I'm bitter, I'm over it.
I remember seeing you in Drayton Valley at would have been the Alberta qualifier for the Nationals. Would that be correct? In 2003,
the Provincial Scotties.
Yeah, my mom was volunteering or part of it. She was a big curler at the time. I remember seeing you at that one because I even went. That's probably the only tournament I ever went to actually watch curling.
Come on,
remember
Ted.
You were there.
Get out. The real sport.
I'm just saying. I can't say that I'm the hugest curling fan. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I think that was the 04. 04. I was playing with Deb Santos, and we went on to the Nationals, which were in Kitchener Waterloo. Yeah, the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. You betcha.
Oh wow.
Love Drayton Valley.
We talked about on the curling side of things, and now what else? What are the other two now?
Rodeo.
The rodeo side of things? Yeah, we got to talk some rodeo too.
Goodness, rodeo. I love rodeo. CFCW, when I started in 1989, it was, boy, oh boy. I think, as everyone knows, we hit every single rodeo there is in the CFCW listening region. And for Tim Ellis, that is part of our team here. Wow, does he do a great job of the CFR broadcast, but then also the Rad Rodeo reports through the season are just so really, really well done. And CFCW has such a connection to rural Alberta. So as a result, I've been part of volunteered with the Friends of Pro Rodeo and love that. I had a great time in Red Deer, but I'm really thrilled they're back in Edmonton this October. It's going to be, I think, for Rogers Place to host this rodeo. I'm so excited for it, to see that happening in the dirt. And we'll be there broadcasting live. Also, I will be over at the Expo Center for that big, it's not farm fair, but it's everything else happening at the Expo Center. It's going to be, it's going to be a fun week. I'm so excited. Country Music Week, September 11th to the 14th. The rodeo from October 2 to 5. Edmonton's going to be happening.
And our PBR Canada Finals on the 8th and 9th, also
Yes.
in Rogers. Yeah. It's going to be a big couple months. But talk about the rodeo side of things, though, with your, what was I going to say? You were connected with Bob Steadward, and he was a bit of an advisor for a couple of years with the CPRA. We'll talk about that time as well.
Oh, yeah. Just helping out Dr. Bob. It's funny. He was our sports psychologist for our curling team. That's how I got to know Bob. And then we volunteered on a bunch of things, Friends of Pro Rodeo. And he just lover of rodeo. And, a lot of people think I was born in rural Alberta, but my mom was born in Manville. And my oldest sister, but the rest of us, we're city kids. St. Albert did go out to the farm a bit in Manville, but always just, I always put rodeo athletes and curlers always were similar to me, only because we're stupid enough to pay the entry fee and leave with no money except the organization. They get to make all the money to put on the event. I find the people are the same. I just love rodeo people. Just so chill and just it's a great sport.
Do you have a rodeo over the years you've been to in Alberta that has been a favorite? Is there a certain town, community that you always just love going to their rodeo, big or small?
Bruce.
To Ponoka Stampede, obviously, still my favorite. But then the Bruce Stampede would be the other one. The Bruce Stampede, I was a rodeo clown for a day, so I helped out Ricky Tikki Wanchuk back in the day.
Were you happy, or?
I was happy. I just remember it was like 34 Celsius in Bruce that day, and he got me he put the rodeo clown makeup on, and I got the hat, and I got the whole outfit. I looked just like Ricky Tikki Wanchuk, except I shave. That's the difference.
Did he didn't blow you out of an outhouse or something crazy in the arena?
No, he wanted to. I just remember I had my cowboy boots on initially, but the night before I decided, what if a bull chases me? I better put my runners on if I want to run in the dirt. Well, I didn't think to check it on the mesh fence, and my running shoes didn't get through the mesh fence, and a bull was coming after me, and Ricky grabbed me from behind and gave me the biggest wedgie. And that's all. Whenever I think Ricky Tikki, I think Jackie Rae. He gave me a wedgie. That's my claim to fame in the rodeo world. That's it.
Jeez.
Oh, well, shout out Bruce Stampede coming up Sunday. Come and join us. Always a fun one.
Yeah, this weekend. Yeah, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I would say just going back to the venues, and I noticed the Calgary Stampede was nominated for the music festival, one of the music festival awards. I think that the Ponoka Stampede is on the track to be in the similar circle in the next few years.
I think you're right. I thought this year they had Jade Eagleson and Gord Bamford and Megan Patrick. Last year, Washboard Union. Oh, I agree. They're booking some awesome talent in Ponoka. And golly, though, Calgary, if you think between the outdoor stage, the grandstand with the Hunter Brothers and Nashville North, boy, they rocked it with some acts this year. It was very impressive.
bit of a juggernaut, like holy smokes. But like what a place like the Cowboys tent, like would that be somewhere that could be considered with like Bailey Zimmerman and some of the different artists that they had? Like could that be technically called one of the festivals, or is that not technically because it's only a tent? I guess it's not really.
Yeah, that's not really because it's off-site, right? So maybe it wouldn't be considered, but you never know.
Yeah.
It's because if it's a festival within the Calgary Stampede, they could possibly they should become a member of the CCMA. Then they can vote for themselves, maybe.
Yeah,
like we are.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
Do we get like an initiation when we buy our membership, Jackie? Is there something when we come to Edmonton that we have to do or get to do to be part of the crew?
Yes. Yeah. You get to buy me a beer.
Oh,
there's your initiation.
That sounds
we can handle
good.
that. I'm going to sign up right now.
Oh, excellent. Very good.
That's all it took. That's all it took. Here's with Jackie Rae.
What else do we got to get to on this show, Dustin?
I don't know. I'm just super excited that we were able to chat through the awards and chat a bit about Jackie Rae and your awesome career and what you've done. I did want to ask, you referenced Drumheller at the very start. Your radio journey, you've been such a staple and had such a great career. What has been the highlight of your personal radio career? Because you're so well known in the industry and everyone knows your name and in your voice from the radio waves. But what's been your personal highlight of your radio career?
Oh boy. There's probably two. I just recently received the honorary doctorate, so I'm actually a doctor now. Don't come to me,
Dr. Jackie Rae.
I know it's Dr. Jackie, from MacEwan University, and it was for all my volunteer work over the years, and also a big initiative we're doing at MacEwan. We're trying to bring country music into the curriculum at MacEwan, so that's something that I'm really really proud of that we've been working on. So that's number one. But I think 2018. Being inducted into the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame in the builder category, and then having Terry Clark go in the artist category the same year. And Terry and I, kind of two Alberta girls growing up the same time in this province, and for us to go in at the same time was pretty special for the both of us. So it was those would be the two standouts for me, and the story's still being written.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I read that you're a goal person. So what's on the list? What do you have on the list on the goal side of things right now?
Yeah, very goal driven. Number one, we're back curling again next year. Goal is to win the Canadian Masters, not lose in the final, and then a goal maybe to slow down a little bit in the future. So the husband's retired, so maybe I might have to consider stepping her down a notch. So. Stay tuned
on the
for
golf
that.
game.
Your step down a notch might be everyone else is still going very
Normal,
busy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not wrong on that.
And then I always had one last question was, did you ever have any crazy stories from on the air? Any funny people phoning in or anything wild happened to you while you were on the air live that ever stood out as a crazy story to tell years later?
You and I started the show when you said you always loved to call into radio stations, and we had this kids comedy line. And there's this one morning, this girl, she's I think about 7 years old, calls from the Onaway area, and I was co-hosting the show with Wes Montgomery, who's a real character. And so it's kids comedy line. So I say, okay, what's your joke today? And the little girl goes, Mr. Montgomery, how many ribs does a jackass have? And he pauses and he says, well, I don't know, dear. How many? And she goes, well, lift up your shirt and count them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, coming from a 7-year-old, I couldn't talk on the radio for the next 20 minutes. I lost it. It was so funny. And it's still today. And while Wes is gone, next year it'll be 20 years he passed. And so that probably happened about 25 years ago. And people still talk about it when I see them out in public. I was listening that morning when that girl called in. It's so good.
That's great. That's great.
Oh, wow. Well, should we ask the last question, Dustin?
Yeah, we ask all of our guests this question, Jackie, and it is, what would your definition of cowboy shit be?
Oh, well, what would my definition of cowboy shit be? It'd be something that Jackie Rae thought was a really, really great idea at the time, and then it wasn't. So, oh, shit the bed again.
I it sounds to me like being a rodeo clown for a day with Ricky Ticky. I don't know anybody else that's done that besides close family members or Kale Ethier. So I think that's got to be right up there.
That's, that's a very good point. And there was probably cowboy shit in my pants when I got the wedgie.
Did they give you a microphone out there too?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I had the microphone at times as well. You betcha. Yeah, I got the microphone. I look. Oh yeah, I should try to find the picture for you. It was
Was
Oh, that's
Jack
amazing.
Danes the announcer back then?
But it had to be.
Yeah, trying to think who was. It was pretty. I just remember. I remember. What does he have? The chickens or the roosters? And it was a 34
all of
degree day, and they just look like, oh crap! I got to
Right.
do this gig.
And they're painted usually. They're like purple and yellow and
All colored
orange
up.
Yeah,
and
true.
yeah, all sorts of colors.
Oh, awesome. Well, thanks for doing this with us. Is there anything else that we missed that we didn't get to?
No, I think we're laughing, but please come. Canadian Country Music Week, September 11th to 14th. The award show's on the 14th, but we got lots else going on. Just go to the website and come join us. It's going to be a ton of fun.
And I think that's really been the really cool highlight of this show with you, Jackie Rae, is for us just discovering that there's just so many things going on during Country Music Week that it's not just an award show on a Saturday night, it's a whole week of events. And if you're a country music fan or a new country music fan or just like to have a good time, it sounds like Edmonton is going to be the place to be.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see you guys.
And if you're looking for VIP packages, make sure to call Jackie Rae herself. She'll get you hooked up as a sponsor.
Call me. Jackie Rae at cfcw.com.
There it is.
Once again, we're back, episode 175 of Cowboy Shit. My name is Ted Stovin. He is Dustin Edwards. Thanks to our guest, Jackie Rae Greening, for a wonderful episode. Dustin, we're in the middle of rodeo season, and there was a little bit of stuff go down on the final Sunday of the Stampede.
It made for an interesting day. It was like history repeating itself because I think something similar had happened in years past with the presentation of the bronc riding. But
Rod and Denny Hay.
yeah, because
The
I
wrong
think
guy.
yeah they brought up Denny Hay as the winner, and it was actually
Maybe.
Rod. I think that's the story, and a little
Yeah.
bit of a mix up with Zeke and Cade on the final day. But I was really glad that we were still able to give Cade the bronze and the check, and that's such an important moment for any cowboy or cowgirl to win that. So it was awesome to see it made right. And Zeke Thurston probably just goes to show you why he won the Guy Weedick moments earlier in the day, on the kind of person he is to go through it. And yeah, it was unfortunate that it kind of worked out that way, but still an exciting championship Sunday to have a ride off and finale.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little tough presentation at the end, but it was made right. So
Yeah, good to make it right. And I mean, take everything else away. I know that I give the Stampede a hard time sometimes, but it's still one of the greatest rodeos anywhere.
yeah, when
Right?
you have that final four, you can just feel that energy and the stock and the cowboys and cowgirls just elevate to another level. There's just something about that final four that's just magic, and cool stuff happens, and the bronc riding continues to be a highlight, really, regardless of
Yeah.
the little bit of the mix up. I mean, you see the four best guys, the four best horses, and
3 Canadians
ride-offs
in the
and-
final four.
Yeah, it was awesome. Ben
Right?
Anderson had a great ride in that final four round Leighton
He
Green.
could have
as
almost
a-
won it
Yeah,
on Wild Cherry on his own.
totally. Yeah, blew his hat off. A
Right?
big first move out that Wild Cherry does.
Yeah.
And
And he still
It
marks
was-
the horse out, right? That for me, that would be the difference, is that he marks his horse out. Bruno, I don't think did. So for me, like going back to those rides, I think you got to dock the guy that missed his horse out. When Ben goes to the effort of blowing his hat off on that horse, you can see that like shit was going down. I think, in my opinion, maybe the other horse for Bruno bucked a little harder down like the rest of the way, but like Ben went to the effort of marking that sucker out and got it done, and then like that should be
do you
worth a
think
bit
it's a
more.
do you think it's a disadvantage to be the first guy to go in a rough stock event
100%.
in the four round?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Although when was RC on Virgil? When was he out? Was he
I think
first,
he bucked
second, third?
last, didn't he?
Was he last? I don't know. I wasn't like I didn't get to watch it live, so I don't know.
I think if you're on Virgil in the 4th round, you could be first,
Yeah.
fourth, second, third. It
Yeah, it's
don't
true.
matter. Yeah,
Fair
you make
enough.
8 seconds no matter when it is in the day.
Yeah.
You buck him at 7 in the morning, he's gonna win.
You could be in the slack. Nobody's even there.
Yeah,
94.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to kind of talk about the the Stampede side of things and I put out a tweet about the shows, and I just wanted to go back that a little bit and say just because text sometimes can get misconstrued different ways, but I think that there's something on the rodeo side of things overall still. You and I had this conversation offline about, the NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, like all these major sports. The major, what would I say, the major production or the major like rules, I guess, or what am I trying to say? Like the
Like if
NHL
you're
goal
comparing
judges and
NHL,
officials.
yeah, officials, goal judges, referees, things like that. Is that what you're kind of referencing?
Yeah, that like there's a clear format and a clear what do I say? A clear production, clear format for what am I for the events? I'm trying to formulate
Like
this
the
in my mind a
structure
little
of an event.
bit. Yeah, it's
And
similar everywhere you go,
yeah, it's similar, right?
and the
Like when you,
format.
yeah, an NHL game has the same officials. You know, even if you look at big productions, it's same teams. A lot of the places you go, um, it's and it's unique at Calgary because they have such a dedicated volunteer base that puts so
Absolutely.
many hours and time in. But but I think what you're trying to say is, it's a once a year kind of thing. Is that's kind of what we chatted about offline,
Well,
right?
yeah, kind of like that's kind of part of it, but what my point is that the other major sports, it's a clear it's a clear format everywhere you go. So NHL is 3 periods, 3 20-minute periods, 18-minute breaks at intermission. The TV timeouts are after 14 minutes, 10 minutes, and 6 minutes. For every period, like there's clear set formats where and they're put on by professionals everywhere they go. And I'm not trying to discount what the committees do, because the committees put on all the shows everywhere, and we couldn't do it without the committee side of things. What I'm saying is I think there's a little more on the production side and the format side where there could be an overarching production or organization that puts on and helps produce the top 30 rodeos in the world, where all those top 30 rodeos, including the NFR or whatever it might be, they're all the same. You got the same events, the same format, the same production team. They're all built for TV in a certain way. Where right now, like Cheyenne's on, and they have a different format than Calgary did, and Reno had a different format and a different order of events and a different crew and a different tractor driver, and like a different set of a different scoring system at all those different shows, to where um,
It's just an
there's not a lot of
inconsistent. Yeah,
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 and
where
you
every
make a
other
good
major sport
point,
has a consistent format.
and you have no way to police it. And we've talked about that in pro rodeo, where, what does it mean to be a professional rodeo? Is
Yeah,
it is it the cowboys that come? Is it the money that's up? You know, um, and even in bull riding, if you look at PBR Canada, the other bull riding associations, because you are one, it doesn't mean two events are alike. And it's probably that
true.
inconsistency that sometimes is the rise and fall of certain events.
Hmm.
It's one thing to say you're a pro event, but they don't all turn out that way. And you're at the mercy of the committee putting it on, the people that are hired to be there, whether they should be or not. So I think that it's an inconsistent formula, I guess.
Hmm.
When you go to a professional sporting event in any city, there it's the same.
For the
Different
most
teams,
part.
different ballpark, but
Yeah,
it's the same structure, same for the
but
most part.
to go into the NHL, and I'm probably putting my foot in my mouth a little bit here on saying that this is different, but like I personally think that the production and the in-game experience in Edmonton is night and day better than Calgary. And I know you work with the crew, but like I get bored of the production in Calgary because I've seen it a lot of times. And there's, the sound is pretty good in there, but like I've seen the Hell's Bells opener for the Calgary Flames enough now. Like like there's and part of it's the fans too, because the team isn't as great, so the fans aren't as into it maybe, or it's partially corporate and people are going there to go and visit. They're not going there to watch the team. Like I'm a Flames partial season ticket holder, but I like the Oilers better. Or like it's kind of
Well,
weird, but like
the Oilers just won an award in the industry for
yeah,
like best game presentation this week.
right. And no,
And you know
like I'm
what?
not trying to crap on the Flames. I'm just saying like
Yeah, and a
I
big
think
part
it's
of
a
it's the
better
building and
experience.
the technology
Yeah, or
and
Vegas has an elite production too in the league.
what I love is when teams elevate and
Mm-hmm.
then internally everybody wants to equal them.
Yeah.
So when Edmonton's kicking ass and video mapping and that stuff will all come with the new building, and what Vegas did with openings, a lot of teams are like, hey, we got to replicate that.
Yeah.
Seattle was trying everything in their power to replicate what Vegas did by, in
And it
fact,
was
hiring the guy who created it
some
at
of
the
the same
start,
people,
right?
right? Johnny
Yeah,
Greco goes from Vegas to Seattle.
exactly. So I think that, and in rodeo, it's amazing that, um, you know, oftentimes it feels like silos. Like, hey, we put on our rodeo, and this is what we do. And if we're 2 hours, if we're 5 hours, if we have a announcer, this is his only pro rodeo he does, and we got a local DJ, that's fine. And the next rodeo says, hey, we want the best announcers, we want the best music, we want the
Mm-hmm.
sound to be the best video screen. We want this to be the best 2 hour, 30-minute rodeo anybody's ever seen. And we have both of those
Yeah.
at the pro level. And
Yeah.
I guess it's subjective to the committee, and for them, some of them it's their only rodeo they're part of, and some people it's the only rodeo they go to is their own rodeo they work.
Oh yeah,
So,
exactly.
we go to an NHL arena and we're like, oh man, this is so awesome. I'd love if we could bring this back and do it in Calgary or do it in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Rodeo, it's not always the same.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
my
don't know.
point anyways
Maybe
too.
that was a long-winded statement about uh, the difference in different communities in rodeo and the inconsistencies, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's never been a nucleus, even from the association level, to say that there has to be a standard met.
Yeah.
Where, you know, even in like junior hockey, where the standard is, hey, your officials need to be wearing coats with the logo on it, and you need to have 2 qualified goal judges, and you need to do this, this, and this. There's not that standard in rodeo, really, essentially at all. Besides saying you need someone that's got a card
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
part of it.
And as a
And it
music
can,
guy, I don't even have a card yet
yeah,
in Canadian rodeo.
and your arena director, your people doing scoring, whoever can
And the
be
scoring
volunteers.
system.
Yeah,
Scoring system is different everywhere.
can be
That's what I'm
it's
sorry,
pen
go
and
ahead.
paper in the rain, or it's like a
Yeah.
a digital system like something that Sam would run.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's all, there's no consistent level.
Yeah.
And we
That
tried the
was
video replay, and last year, and it happened
this year's
at
not
some
even a thing.
arenas. I haven't even heard of it this year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening. Maybe it is, and I just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Actually funny you brought that up, because I never even thought of that until just now.
Yeah.
So, it's just like we're consistently inconsistent.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Anyways, I'm not trying to, I wasn't trying to be negative. I was trying to point out the fact, like, it's rodeo's biggest stage, and, it's different everywhere we go. There's no, just like what you said, we're consistently inconsistent. So we got to wrap up the show this week, though. Let us know your thoughts. So let us know, send us a note on social, send us an email, hello@cowboyshit.ca, text Dustin or myself, send us a tweet, send us a smoke signal, whatever you want. Give us a shout. Let us know your thoughts on
We'll
this,
reply.
and what
And
might
what I
work.
loved during Calgary was people sending in when they were wearing cowboy shit merch out in the wild. Let's keep that going all summer. If you're at Strathmore, if you're anywhere, if you're in Medicine Hat this weekend,
If you're
anywhere,
in Bruce, your
if
Medicine
you're
Hat,
Bruce Stampede,
let us know.
Let us know. We love sharing the cowboy shit out in the wild and in
Good
rodeo.
point.
And I seen cowboy shit out in Morris, Manitoba this weekend. So
Hey, there you go.
it's
I love it.
worldwide. Yeah.
We and we got some new stuff on the way, so stay tuned. New stuff, new shit is on the way. But anyways, thanks for listening this week. Once again, thanks to the CCMAs in Edmonton, September 11th, 14th for sponsoring this show. Thanks again to Jackie Rae. Thanks to our editor, Sean Morton. Thank you, Dustin, for being my friend.
See you at the next one.